Alright, guys, on YouTube, give me a moment. I am getting Instagram set up here. Real quick, we're going to do it live on Instagram as well, of course, because that's, well, what we do. And let's see what I can get set up. So, waiting for connection through Instagram, but we're going to get started here in a moment. Hey, Instagram as well. What is going on, everybody? So, we are here today. Those of you who looked on YouTube on the live there. Hey, what's up, Brush Life? Good to see you, man. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for joining in. So today, the topic of the conversation is going to be mental fatigue and confidence loss. So no matter how long you've been climbing, no matter how good of a company you are, right, you're going to experience mental fatigue and confidence loss. And I don't mean mental fatigue like so much in I'm really tired that day and I'm having a hard time doing my work that day. That is a kind, right? That without a doubt, that is a kind. But it's not the kind that I'm talking about. I'm talking about like when you have been like absolutely overwhelmed with everything going on in life and you have a billion things going on and you've just gotten sapped of your energy, and then now you are struggling to just manage daily task plus workload plus all those kinds of things, and it happens. Happened to me recently, honestly. It was really frustrating too because it's weird how your mind works against you. It makes you feel like you're incapable of doing things that you know you're totally capable of doing, and then you have to try to like fight that feeling and get past it, right? That's what you have to do. And it can take a little bit. So it's not ideal, right? But before we get fully into that topic, real quick, got to mention my sponsors because they help me out so much. Thank you, Weaver Arborist, Gap Arborist Supply, and Just Send It Sauls. They are huge help to this channel and everything. I haven't been super consistent lately on the days that I'm doing my lives. I apologize. I'm trying to get back to that. We are buying a house, and that's part of this whole mental fatigue thing that's going on and all that. We'll talk a little bit about everything. I have a couple of non-official sponsors. They help me out, but they're not technically a sponsor. So I have Bear Valley, who's given me a few products, which I'm still going to give away. Once again, just part of that being behind on everything. Also, I have Clogger, who has sent me a few products to analyze, and I love the guys at Clogger. Super, super nice people. Awesome products. Cannot speak enough about their products personally. I just really like them. And then, that's kind of it. So that brings me into the first review. Tree Guy Sean asked me about the Bear Valley polarize sunglasses. So here they are. They've got fingerprints on them because, well, I use them. Yeah. So there you go, YouTube. Here's the Bear Valley polarized sunglasses. So first off, I'd like to say I really like these glasses, to be quite frank with you. They have probably some of the best coverage of your whole face of all the glasses that I've ever worn. There's very little bit of light that comes through on the bottom and almost nothing on the sides. They are pretty dark, so know that. And the other thing is they give a very blue tint to everything. So if you're not into like the blue tinted glasses, they might not be for you, but they are very, very good glasses for controlling extremely bright sun, which, you know, we have out here. They are kind of flimsy, but I don't mean that in like a cheap way. They're just flexible. They seem to be really good quality, honestly, and I have not been disappointed with them at all. They do come with a cloth to clean them, a cleaning cloth, but to be honest, I never use it. I just use my shirt, and they haven't started scratching yet, which is awesome. They are a bit on the wild side of style, so, you know, if it's not your style, that's one thing. Sometimes I take them off with certain clients because I figured they would probably be more distracted by the glasses than by what I'm trying to tell them, especially on some bids. So that's something to keep in mind. They are safety glass rated, so they can be worn as safety glasses, and they do a phenomenal job. Really, they do. I like them. I bought these, by the way. I was not given these. I purchased these at full price with my own money. Well, I think there was a discount or whatever when I bought them, but I did buy them, and I like them. They come with two different hooks for your ears. This one is a rubber hook. It's completely rubber. It's formed, but it's pliable, soft rubber. These are much better for wearing with your glasses. I mean, your helmet and your earmuffs, right? They make much better earmuff wearing. So that's something to keep in mind. They have fully adjustable arms. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but the arm adjusts up and down. And they have little catches in between, so it kind of stops in the different areas, so you can adjust them at different angles or whatnot. They also extend out and in. This is a little bit harder. I have a little bit harder time pulling them out, but so you can take that out. There is another one of these that comes with the glasses. It's a harder plastic, and it's not quite a hook. It's a more traditional style. They're not bad, but for me, it's just not what I want to wear when I'm wearing a helmet. And that's why I have these on. So you can extend these out to different lengths, and then I wear mine fully in. That's how I like them. That's how they fit me best. One thing to know, and this isn't a Bear Valley issue. This is a sunglass issue in general. Okay, with my Protos Fanner earmuffs on, and the other ear tabs on, they press in real hard and they hurt. I don't like them, but it's not it. Every sunglass I've ever worn has been the same way. They just press in and cause a whole bunch of issues, right? I don't like that. These don't press in and cause me pain on the side of my head, but with them being this soft rubber on these that I have on there, when I wear them with my Fanner Protos, for some reason, when it gets pushed inward, it tends to slide forward slightly, and it's slightly off my face, and it doesn't have the same coverage. So I'm not super stoked on wearing them with my helmet, but I'm not super stoked on wearing any sunglasses with my helmet. I actually use my like integrated safety glasses slash sunglasses with the Fanner Protos. They don't block debris quite as well as these do when these fit right, but they don't press on my head at all, and they flip up inside the helmet, so they're easy and whatever. And in the tree, that's just what I prefer, just FYI, right? But I wear these when I'm not in the tree at all. I wear these all the time. I throw them up on the dash. I've been wearing them for about 2 weeks now, maybe 3. And yeah, they have a few surface abrasions on them, but nothing that's noticeable at all. It's just about like normal with my sunglasses. So yeah, I really, really like them. I do think that they would be great safety glasses if you were wearing them with the right kind of helmet or whatever. For me though, with the Protos, are just not really my style of thing. And I'll continue to wear them. If you're listening, bro, from Bear Valley, I would love to see these in yellow tint. like where when you're looking through, it's more yellow tint. Yellow polarized tinted glasses, waking up all the dead in trees way more than any other sunglass or that you can see with your own eyes. So just so you know. Okay, that's that. And there we go. Now we're gonna talk for a minute about the mental fatigue and stress and stuff. So real quick, what happened recently was I had a situation where jobs just weren't going right. They just were not going right. One job, the equipment broke down and it was just frustrating. Another job, I went and got in the tree and the wind picked up and I had to get out of the tree. And then the next day I got back in the tree. I get up to the top and half of the stem that I needed to climb about 7 feet higher on, half of it was split and dead. And there was a whole dead lead branch coming off of it. So I didn't feel like it was safe because I had to get way out on angles and essentially only half of that 6-inch stalk was not dead and split. So I had to call it, and I called the client. Now understand, I give my client a spiel every time saying that if there is something unforeseeable from the ground that I could not see, I could see there was a dead branch, but I couldn't see that the vertical portion of the trunk was also dead and split because it was on the back side. Then there may be an adjustment in price and whatever to get it done with other equipment, i.e. a lift. So I found that out. I told him that there would be an adjustment in price. He said okay. I told him he didn't have to commit to that. I could change the scope and leave that dead in there or get as much of it out as I could, but they would have to understand that that was not a secure top. He said okay, go ahead and do the full scope. The company that I rent the lift from, somebody fried the circuit board on it and it wasn't going to be available for a week, and I told him I will call you not this Monday but the next Monday. So 2 Mondays, right? Well, he on that Monday came and went. The first Monday, the Monday I was supposed to call him was coming up, and the Saturday before that Monday, he basically he sends me a text message saying I'm canceling our contract. Look at the email I sent you. And in the email, he essentially called me a liar, told me that I promote myself as being much more than I am, and I'm not, and that I never told him that if the price changed, that there, or if the scope changed, that there might be a price change, and that he had found a tree service company that could do it faster, and since I didn't call him when I told him I would, he felt like I had canceled the contract, which none of the above was actually true. Okay, just so you know, it hadn't come to the day that I told him I was going to call him. I had informed him beforehand that the price would change if there was something that I felt unsafe or unstable about the tree. And I told him that I did not own the lift, I would have to rent it, and that the circuit board was blown and I would have to wait 1 week, and he agreed to all this. So none of what he actually said was true, but it gets frustrating when somebody starts to attack your character. Okay, on top of all this, we're trying to buy this house. It's been going pretty smoothly. There's one hiccup. The hiccup is the town where we live has now allowed for micro lots, I guess you could call them, to split your land into different lots. You only have to have a 25-foot wide lot by 125-foot long, and you can sell that as a lot for somebody to build on in town. The lot that we're buying, the house that we're buying, actually sits on 4 potential lots, and the current seller had actually started that process. Well, then he started to sell it, and we want it, and we don't want them split up, and the city went ahead and started making those divisions without his final signature. So now they're having to redo all that stuff, right? So there's just been a bunch of stuff to distract me, right? That's just how it is. And then after all of that, I went and started to climb that job. I talked to you guys about it on Instagram Live. that I had to call it early that day. My mind just wasn't in it. I felt super fatigued, and I just had to get out of the tree. And I had planned on getting a bunch done. It didn't get done, and now I'm behind on a job that I felt like I shouldn't have been behind on. I can't figure out why I can't climb to the level I should be climbing, and all this other stuff is going on, and it just really hit me hard, to be honest. To a point where I was like seriously considering calling up somebody who's offered to buy my business from me and potentially open up conversations again with them, because I was just frustrated that poorly. That plus the marketing side, which I love doing, it's just a lot of time, and it's been a difficult road this past month or so. But what I came down to the conclusion of was it's mental. It's mental fatigue. Once again, it's not just tree service work, it's everything. And I just had been exhausted emotionally, right? So I didn't really know what to do about it. And so I was having a bit of a struggle. And here's what I came up with. Here's what the solution for me was, okay? Last weekend, so today is Wednesday. Last weekend, I took the whole weekend off. I just didn't do anything. I didn't sharpen chains. I didn't, which normally I'm out in the truck organizing something or doing social media stuff or whatever. I just took it all off. And I said, I'm not dealing with this. Other than having to text back and forth with that guy, which was frustrating because that was supposed to be my down day. And then I get this frustrating text and email from this guy. Oh, Andy told me that he wasn't going to pay me for any of the work that I had done up to that date, which was like a full day's worth of work. So it's a small town. You have to pick your battles. I essentially lost, few $100s. And I'm calling it good because I've got other work waiting, and it's not worth fighting for because it won't resolve anything, and it'll just make me look like more of a jerk and more fuel for him to use to try and make me look bad to other people he talks about or talks to about me. So I just let it go. Now, that being the case, it's gotten to a point now that I feel much better. And what I figured out to do was, after that weekend, I looked through my schedule, and I had already promised a job on Monday, which would have been not yesterday, but the day before. And I called up the client, and I told him that I would be there, and I made sure that I had a lift to do the part of the job that I knew was going to be more challenging climbing, because I just physically didn't feel like I had that motivation, that mental motivation to do that physical work that day, right? Well, the job was semi-simple. It had a lot of long limb walks for the climbing day, because I did climb yesterday all day to finish it up. And it was amazing because the job was like a scope. The scope of the job was medium difficulty. It was not super difficult. It was not super easy. It was medium. And having the lift the first day just let me get back in the routine of pruning and I just got a ton of work done, right? Like a ton. I got a bunch of trimming done. I got all this stuff done. And I felt super accomplished on Monday. And then I climbed Tuesday, and I felt way better because Monday I was already feeling better about my abilities again. I was like, I'm not the crappy arborist that I feel like I am sometimes when I get frustrated with my underachievements of my expectations. And then Tuesday we finished the job in the 2-day scope, and I did some pretty extensive, difficult limb walks. One of the limb walks, which if you've seen my new video that I put up on YouTube, I don't think I've put it up on Instagram yet. Maybe I have. I don't remember. A couple of the limb walks were well over 25 feet out, and tie-in points were not real great. They were at very poor angles, and I had to remove them over, like one whole branch was over a house, and I had a rig, and that was a really, like, at one point I was literally laying on my stomach out and cutting negative rigging and cutting a branch and letting it swing away as I'm like being bounced on this 9-inch diameter trunk that I'm laying on. And it was interesting because since my confidence had been rebuilt quite a bit, it was helpful because Monday I used the easy method. Make fun of it if you want. Sometimes there is a place for a lift. And I just got through a whole bunch. I felt like accomplished. I felt like this is something I can realistically do and get done in the time frame that I had bid. And lately it seems like all the jobs that I bid, I've fallen like short of getting it done in the time frame that I bid it. So I'm like losing money, you know, with an extra day here, half a day here, whatever. And I'm getting behind in the schedule, and it's frustrating, and I'm getting anxious, and I already deal with an anxiety disorder, and it's just frustrating, right? But now I did that job, and I feel confident on Monday. So Tuesday I climbed, and yeah, I was exhausted by the end of the day, but I got it all done. And the client was like super ecstatic. And they asked me how I was doing because they could kind of tell that I wasn't my normal self that I had been speaking with them. And I kind of laid it out in a brief, you know, synopsis of what had occurred with the other client. And they were, it was nice. They were like, yeah, no, you're way better than that. Don't let that guy get to you. And in fact, the homeowner, he's probably in his 70s. He was like, who is he? I'll call him and I'll tell him what kind of guy you are. So it was just nice to have somebody on your side. You know what I mean? So what's the takeaway from all of this, I guess, is the question. Because it's, you know, I've noticed that definitely when there's mental fatigue on my side, when I'm trying to do too much at one time, when things just don't go right for me, I find that my performance in climbing and stuff does tend to start to slacken a little bit. And that's dangerous. And I try really hard to get past it. What clients say or do, as a general rule, don't affect me that bad. I'm sure that this client particularly affected me because I've never had somebody refuse to pay me my due just because they had a differing opinion or whatnot. I know it happens from time to time. I'm usually pretty PR, public relations oriented, and I can usually work a deal out somehow, but this guy was just not having it. And so I just felt defeated in a lot of ways. So I guess the takeaway of it is sometimes scaling back to what you can reasonably do, like scaling back your expectations and changing and shifting your method of work can actually rebuild your confidence. So like if I had tried to climb Monday and I had been going slower than I felt like I should have, it would have just piled on what I was already feeling of lack of confidence and mental frustration and all those things, if that makes sense. But because I chose to use the lift that day, which was a good call, I got a whole bunch done. And I set myself up to finish the job on time, and it made me have confidence again. So I own the business. I can make those adjustments in what jobs I do and where I put what job and that kind of stuff, which is very cool and good. But what if you're not a business owner? What if you climb for a company or something? My recommendation would be, once again, as we've talked about in the past, have open communication with your supervisor or the owner of the business and try to make what adjustments you can. If the job is like a 2 or 3 day job, and let's say there's an easy aspect of the job and there's a hard aspect of the job, can you negotiate with the owner or whatever, or the client even, depending on what the expectations are, to start with the easy thing? Like let's say you have a spruce to remove and it's like it's on the edge of the house, but you have a big drop zone, and then you have a huge poplar, or you have a huge oak tree or something like that, or pecan that's really hard to climb. Can you put that off to the next day? And if you get up there, get all that spruce, which is just a lot of cutting and chunking, down. Can you build your confidence that way so that the next day when you've got to really fatigue yourself physically and mentally with strategy, you can be better prepared for it. A lot of times, I think if you just express it in a way that can help the boss to see the benefit. So always remember, you don't want to manipulate people particularly, but you do want to use salesmanship, I guess is the term, motivation, to help people see it your way. And the way you can do that is, for instance, if you're talking to your boss and he's like really pressing you to get the big job done because, in his mind he's saying, well, if we get this big job done, then we're already ahead of the game for the other stuff. And that makes sense. That's kind of what I do as a general rule. But you might be able to talk to the boss and say, hey, look, I understand that if we get the big job done or get a big chunk of that done, it looks good to the client. We feel accomplished and things like that, and I would love to do that. However, I'm really struggling today, physically and mentally. I guarantee you, if you let me do the simple spruce or pine tree removal first, it'll be an easy climb. It'll be an easy work segment, and I can get past this mental block, and then I'll be better suited for the big tree, right? Because you're going to have to do the big tree either way. Or if you have the option, ask not to climb that day and make yourself useful. So maybe ask if you can't, like, maybe raking all day isn't the job for you. Maybe you won't feel accomplished. Maybe it won't take your mind off the mental frustrations that you have. Maybe you could be the rigging guy, the rope handler. Maybe it'll engage your mind enough and it'll make you feel accomplished. You're watching these chunks come out of the tree. You're helping the climber in the tree get the work done. You're helping the ground to get the work done. And yeah, you'll be tired physically, but you might just feel way more put together, if that makes sense. BZ Arbicare says, rough week myself, bought a new to me dump truck, finally pulled the trigger on one, and it randomly caught on fire on the way home, burnt to the ground. Talk about defeated. Oh man, Brian, I am so sorry, dude. That's rough, man. That's rough. I feel your pain in a similar, not exact way. I can't say that it's the same thing, but so part of this mental frustration is that last week my Vermeer BC 900 XL with 303 hours on it has broken down for the 7th time, and they've replaced the main control board. They have replaced a whole bunch of fuses. They have replaced a whole bunch of connectors. They have checked all the wiring, and they can't figure out what's happening. The next thing is they're going to put a whole new wiring harness in it. My warranty comes up. It comes up in June, and I'm trying to make them get this fixed because it just randomly quits working. It'll work for a month or two at a time, and then it just quits working on me. So I had to drive a 5-hour round trip to take it to the Vermeer dealer in the middle of a land a clearing job, okay? And yeah, that wasn't awesome. And then the next day, I got the truck and the chipper stuck in 16-inch deep snow. I didn't know it was that deep. Yeah, it took me 2 hours of digging to get the truck and the chipper out in the middle of a job that was time sensitive, and so I had to stay late to finish chipping up all the piles for fire mitigating reasons, to not leave debris piles on the ground. So while it's not the same thing, Brian, I feel your pain, man. My sympathies go out to you, and those things will make you feel defeated. I mean, absolutely. So I guess if I was gonna, I'm not a therapist. I'm not trying to be a therapist. You're not paying me for a consultant for mental health, and I don't mean to be, but I guess if I was going to say anything to try to cheer you up, I would recommend trying to find like a really simple job that you could like knock out, or 2 jobs that you could knock out in 1 day or 2 days, and see that money roll back in real quick. And even though it's not going to be enough to repair the truck, probably it makes you feel accomplished and that you haven't completely taken steps back, that you're still moving forward a little bit. More than that, though, all I can say is I'm so sorry, man. It's rough. It's really, really rough when that kind of stuff happens. So I hope it goes better for you, bro. That's all I can say. Just let me know how it's going. I'm interested to see how it works out for you, but I am really, really sorry. And yeah, it's hard to get out to the truck and drive to the job and get motivated when you feel that way, right? It's just, it is what it is. So, you know, I guess the thing I'm trying to say that I found helps me the most is when all this stuff is going bad, I just look for something that might be a scaled down scope that I can put my energies into and see an immediate or a very quick like accomplishment in that people are happy with, especially because that's big to me, is that my clients are happy with the work that I do. And see that money come in, and then I don't feel like I'm so far behind, right? Brian with BZ Arbor Care says got good insurance, so that's good. Just sucks. It's a total loss. Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. That's really, really rough. That is rough, bro. So yeah, just keep at it, man. Don't give up. You know, if it's hard, right? Because we got to have money coming in, and we got to pay people, and if you guys have employees, you know. Oh, sorry, I'm not trying to yawn on you guys. I'm not even sleepy. I'm just tired. But yeah, so just stick at it, guys, and don't let it get you down. But definitely be reasonable about what you're doing. Like, if you have a super technical rigging job, if you can like push it off a little bit until your mind's clear, please do so. Or a really complicated climbing job where the tree's real fragile and brittle and you have to use good judgment, try to do that. No amount of money is going to be worth your death, just quite frankly. So, because I mean, if you die trying to make that money, then you're not going to get it anyway, right? So I hope this kind of helps you guys out a little bit. I don't know. It's something that I've been dealing with quite a bit recently, and just in the past month because of all the house buying. Plus, we have a ton of projects that need to be done on the new home. So I'm like having engineers and draftsmen talk to me about drafting up what I need for my equipment storage, and I'm having to call the city permitting office, and all this on top of work. In fact, this is the first time since I've owned my company that I've been so distracted with everything and so mentally foggy that I actually forgot to call 2 clients back. I just totally forgot to call them back. After a whole month, it was a whole month and I never called them back. So it happens, right? You just try to avoid that from happening the most possible. So try to clear your head. If it's just a day or 2 off to go do something, go, try to do what you can, and like go camping or whatever, just to get yourself away from everything and try to get back to what it is that you've been doing and get back in that mindset for safe working practices. Okay, that's the most important thing. Jobs will come and go. Even if you lose a couple of jobs, which isn't ideal, just remember more jobs will come. And if you're injured permanently or dead, it doesn't matter if you started that job or not. It's not gonna, or if you destroy equipment because you did something stupid like drop a tree on your chipper, it's not gonna make things better. So try to get your head organized well, and then try to get back in the game and do the more complicated stuff. Okay, guys? Each person has their own way, and you gotta work with what works with you. You guys all know best, or hopefully you figured out what gets you calm if it's just getting in the hot tub for a while and just letting your muscles completely relax or whatever, just do it works for you, okay? And that's the best I can do as far as advice. So, want to thank you guys for stopping by. Here soon, I was going to actually do a video outside today, but the wind picked up. It's like 23 miles an hour outside, and you wouldn't have been able to hear me anyway. I came up with I had a situation in that tree that I was climbing, and I came up with a way to extend my lanyards, but not the way that we had talked about before. So I'm going to show you what I came up with and why I chose to do so. But we'll do that outside on a tree at a later date, and that way everybody can see. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I've yawned twice. I'm going to head out and call it a day. Thank you for stopping by and checking out my live Instagram feeds. Don't forget to check out my new post. If you haven't yet, please go over to my my YouTube channel and subscribe there as well. There will be some coming up here in the near future that will only be on only be fully visible on YouTube, and I'll let you know which ones those are, because that's where my broadcasting system works with, and we can get some of these seminars going that I have planned. So thank you guys, and I hope you all have a good evening or good night, depending on where you're at. Take care.